Hello, good evening everyone. Welcome to July 22 edition of MobiTalk. We conduct this monthly event and talks related to Android and iOS mobile development. And we are so excited to see you guys joining in. You can also connect with us on WhatsApp using the link that is shown on the screen. And you can also follow us on Twitter using the handle MobiTalk HQ. And talking about the topic that we are going to discuss today is mobile UI and API automation. And today's we have three presenters. The first one is Manikandan Dharmaraj. He is a staff engineer from Automatic India Private Limited. Also, Prabhu Sundarrajan. He is senior engineer from Automatic India Private Limited. And Lakshman, who is also a senior engineer from Automatic India Private Limited. So probably we'll wait for a couple of more minutes for folks to join in and then we can begin with the session. We'll just wait for a few minutes. Guys, I'll be posting the WhatsApp and Twitter information on the comment section. Please follow us and join us there. I think, yeah, we shall start. I think Manikandan is gonna go first. So Manikandan, please go.
Thanks, Priya. Thanks for your introduction. Welcome to Mobile Talk session. In today's agenda, we are going to see about the. Prabhu, can you share the slides?
I think I have started sharing the slide. Priya, I think
Yeah, Prabhu, could you share it
one
again?
second, I'll recheck
Yeah.
again. One second. Able to see now?
Yeah, it's loading. Thanks, Prabhu. Thanks for sharing the slide. Hope the audience are able to see the screen. Today, we are going to talk about the Karate framework, which is used for the API automation. The next topic is the Appium, which was hosted by Lakshman. It's for UI automation, and Appium 2.0, which was hosted by Prabhu Sundarrajan. Let's get start into the Karate framework. Before getting into the in today's agenda, we are going to talk about the Karate architecture, Karate feature, Appium architecture, Appium feature, and Appium 2.0 features. Before getting into the Karate framework, I just want to give the introduction about the what is an API, application programming interface. Let's imagine you are starving and don't want to prepare food by yourself. Then what we will do? Probably you will go to restaurant. Once you have reached the restaurant and sit on table, and the restaurant you are given the menu of choices to order from. Consider the kitchen of the restaurant is the server that will prepare your ordered food. What is missing? The missing here is link to communicate your order to the kitchen and deliver your food back to the table. That's where the waiter or API comes in. The waiter is the messenger or the API. Waiter will take your request or order and tells the kitchen what to do. Based on the waiter request, the kitchen will prepare your food and then the waiter delivers the response back to your food. In this case, the response is your food. Application programming interface, that's what the API. It's a software intermediate that interprets with the communication with the two software. Hope you are able to understand the explanation of the API. Here I want to relate the Einstein codes. If you can't explain it simply any topic, you don't understand it well. You hope you got the explain of the API. Let's move on to the Karate versatile framework. In today's topic, we are going to see about what is karate. We heard that the karate is the familiar food. It's one of the martial arts. But here we are going to use the karate framework for our testing the that means the testing the automation for the API automation, for UI automation, desktop automation, and the performance automation using the Gatling. Karate follows the very simple BDD syntax. If you want to develop the scripts into the API, right, we will use the Karate because non-event program also they are able to do the scripting from the day one itself. And also Karate is having the powerful assertions and reports are inbuilt. If you want to execute your testers as a parallel, we will use this Karate framework. The same framework also, yeah, when it comes to when you are comparing with the rest assured framework or Selenium, right? We have to write our the the Java code for the parallel execution, but Karate it's giving the built-in option. And when it comes to the karate, if you are developing the script, right, the programming knowledge is not required because the karate is built top on the Cucumber framework, the BDD testing framework. Generally, how the Cucumber will works means there will be something called the feature file and followed by the step definition, and you have to write the page object model. But karate is telling it will simplifies your the step definition. You don't want to write your the step definition. Karate itself it's giving the step definition. It will simplifies your script and minimize to develop your automation script from the day one itself. Moving to the let's get a deep dive into the karate framework. I'm an end user. I just want to execute my scripts. I have a feature file which I'm writing as simple English phrases, which consists of the positive scenario, negative scenario, and the contract validations. What this the feature file do means it will we are writing our the scenario or the scenario outlines and injecting to the test runner. The test runner it will picks the features or the tags mentioned in the runner class and automatically it will execute your testers and store it in your the target reports. Once the scripts got executed, right, we will able to get the reports in a HTML format or the karate Cucumber reports or Maven artifacts. Let's move to next slide. Here I want to compare the karate framework versus rest assured versus Selenium. Here I have just jotted down the 12 the key factors. I'm comparing with the Karate framework versus REST assured framework versus Selenium APIs. I have mentioned Selenium API as a Java. I'm comparing with the Selenium Java. As I told earlier, if you when it comes to the programming language, if you are developing the automation scripts in Karate, not required. Our skill competency we don't require because it's supporting the English phrases Gherkin and Cucumber supports. On top of the Cucumber only, the Karate has been built. And when it comes to the rest assured, we need the expertise to build your the automation scripts as well as the Selenium Java. When it comes to the UI automation, also Karate is giving that the privilege you can mix and match the API scripts versus UI scripts. But in rest assured, it will use for it will we will use rest assured for only for API automation. When it comes to Selenium Java, we know Selenium is used for UI automation widely for the Chrome driver, Gecko driver also. And also we are able to integrate the Karate driver types such as the Playwright, Chrome driver, Appium driver, as well as the other MSH drivers also. When it comes to the API automation and performance automation, Karate will support the both API automation and performance automation using Gatling framework. When it comes to rest assured, it's solely built on API automation. Selenium Java, it will partially supports the API automation using HTTP connection. The next key factor is Maven or Gradle, as these three frameworks are supported by the build management tool as a Maven or Gradle. When it comes to the integration with pipeline jobs, right? Suppose if I'm building around 500 scripts in Karate, I just want to integrate with the Jenkins, right? That also we are able to do. How the Selenium and rest assured we are able to integrate our scripts, right? We have the provision also to integrate the Karate with pipeline jobs. When it comes to the cost, Karate is having a community edition as well as the licensed edition. Free license is a Karate. When it comes to the licensed edition, it's a Karate UI Labs. When it comes to rest assured and Selenium, it's a free versions, because these two are the open source framework and open source API. And the next key factor is debugging. Karate using its own language, the debugging is quite difficult in Karate. But when it comes to rest assured and Selenium Java, we are able to easily debug the tools because they are using the Java and the Python as a client libraries. The next thing is built-in support. Suppose I want to execute my testers as a parallel. At the time I want to execute my testers as a 5 instance, right? We are having that inbuilt capability in Karate. The parallel and the reports also we are able to do. But when it comes to rest assured and Selenium Java, we have to write using the testng or JUnit, we have to write the piece of code for the parallel execution. And the next key factor is built-in step definition. The built-in step definition, as I told, Karate is having the built-in step definition, which simplifies our code. Suppose if I'm giving the given URL and the request, these are the keywords if I'm giving, right? It automatically, the Karate will takes the step definition. But when it comes to rest assured and Selenium Java, right, we have to write our own step definition. And Karate supports JSON schema and validation support. When it comes to the JSON schema and validation support, Karate supports inbuilt. Suppose I have a JSON value, I want to match my response with this one. I'm using the Karate keyword, it will automatically matches the response which I want to validate. But in rest assured or Selenium, right, we have to put the other external dependencies like the AMCrust. When it comes to Selenium, we have to go for the Selenium and testng and JUnit frameworks. And also the Karate is giving the privilege, you are able to dockerize the scripts, you are able to dockerize and the scripts and put it into as an image, and we are able to put it into the container for the deployment purpose also. The Docker support is also we are getting for the Karate as well as rest assured and Selenium as well. Let's move to the next slide. This is the Karate boilerplate, how it will look. Karate is having that embedded JS. Suppose as a QA, right, we want to validate in the different environments, or we want to execute our testers in the environment agnostics. I will just configure my URLs in the Karate config.js as a QA environment, SIT environment, and UAT environment, as well as the prod environment. Just I will configure based on that. We don't want to write any external dependency file like the property file or other the JSON file. Automatically this JavaScript we are able to put it in the background. We are able to call it, and first it will loads and it will works. The next thing is whatever the operations we are going to put. For example, for API automation, if you are creating the post dot feature, right, I'm going to post some information to the server. I will just create the cat post dot feature. If I'm going to retrieve some information from the server, cats get dot feature. If I'm going to pass some test data to this post, right, I have created the cat.json. Suppose take an example, I am going to pass my cat name as a Mac. It will take that and it will automatically inject to this post dot feature. This feature files are injected to the cat's runner.java, integrated with the JUnit. It will pick and we will be able to execute our script. That's all about the Karate boilerplate. Moving to the next slide. I'm just want to walk through the simple code snippet for the API. This is how the Karate API snip. Here I'm going to add the user. Here I'm going to add the user into the documents. This is the test data which I'm going to use. See, I have just put the email name as the service at gmail.com active true. I'm just calling this background using the only read. That's what I told. Karate is supporting the step built-in definitions. That's what this read file, it automatically reads my JSON file and it stores in the user details. And I'm creating the add user as the tags. The scenario name is adding user into the documents. Just give an URL. If I'm giving the URL, right, it automatically it's the endpoint, this endpoint. And for authentication, we have to pass some header. How we are passing the header for the postman, right? Like that head and header X API key. I'm just giving the value and request whatever the values we are stored in this the JSON values, right? In this user details, we are putting that. When method post, when is actually used to describe an event. What I'm going to do when method post, I'm going to do the post operation. Then keyword is used to expected outcome, what I'm expecting from this one. Then status 201 HTTP status code, and I'm matching with the powerful assertion. This is the match is the keyword which we will use for the validations and the checkpoints. Just matching with response.email equal to user details dot email, and I'm printing the response, and I'm storing the, if I want to store some information, right, I will use the def keyword all over the feature file. If you want to use this variable like that, we will store it and we will reusable it again. And this is all about the Karate API code snippet. Let's move on to the Karate web code snippet. The same thing as I told, the Karate is giving the configuration for the Chrome Gecko driver, MSH driver, and Playwright other drivers also, like the WinApp driver and the IE driver also. Here we have taken an example for the Chrome driver. I'm just calling the background. It will works as the prerequisite, configuring the driver type Chrome. That's it. And I'm giving the UI example. The scenario which I'm going to present over is UI example for just paypal.com. I'm just going to open the google.com. Then I'm going to maximize the screen and inputting the PayPal. Then I'm going to take the screenshot. See, in Karate, it will simplify. If you are taking the Selenium, right, for screenshot itself, we have to write the 3 to 4 lines of the code. But in Karate, it simplifies our effort. Then screenshot, that's it. When submit.click, if I'm going to do, right, I have entered the PayPal, I want to enter, just inputting that one. Then I will wait for the URL, whether it's reached or not, and I'm going to do the assertion and match driver.url contains paypal.com or not. Once it's done, then we will see the demo of the how this web code snippet works. Okay, let's play the video. This is the Karate sample reports. We have seen the example in the previous slide, right? Like that, how it will works in the IntelliJ. Just I'm going to build this one, whatever the code I have explained earlier, right? Just I'm going to build this one. Once we are clicking the run, right, it will instantiate the testers. Hope it's visible. Once it's instantiating the testers, right, it will launches the Chrome driver. That means you are a Chrome browser. Yeah, the Chrome browser got launched, and it will goes. Then it will maximize. Once the Chrome has been maximized, right, it it's got maximized, then it's entering the PayPal and it will checks for the URL. It's got passed. That's what we are getting. And once the execution of the report, we are able to get the report in the target folder. In target folder, there is something called Karate reports. There is something called UI report. We are able to see that the report. I'm going to open in the Chrome itself. You are able to see that the HTML report over here. What are the steps we have performed over here, like the background and this one and the screenshots, everything we are able to see this one. Step by steps, we are able to diagnose the report. Moving to next slide. As I told, the Karate also supports the Cucumber reports as well as the Alu reports. For this is the Cucumber example report. We are able to get the reports as the feature wise. In this scenario, I have executed the 18 steps. The 16 steps got passed and 2 got failed. These many stats we will be able to get it using the Cucumber reports, as well as you want to know what are the 2 steps got failed, right? We will deep dive into the errors where it got also, like that the step by step report also we are able to get it. Let's move on to now. The latest release of the Karate is it's released on the May. It's a stable version 1.2.0. When it comes to the release candidate, right, June 2022, but it's not recommended. We will go for the Karate core version. As I said, the Karate is having the labs, which is the enterprise edition. If you're going to the lab, we will able to get what is the price of the lab. For monthly, they are taking the $8. When it comes to the yearly, they are charging $76. That's all. That's all about from my side. Open for question and answer related to Karate.
Guys, if you have any question right now, you can post here and Manikandan will answer that. If not, we can wait till the end of the session properly. Currently, Manikandan, we don't have the questions, so maybe we can move on.
Thanks all. Coming up next, the Appium 1.0 and Appium features. I'm over. Lakshman, take the session. Over to you. Thanks all.
Thank you, Manikandan. That was a wonderful explanation on Karate architecture. Well, I'm super excited to be a part of this MobiTalk today. Moving on further, I'm here to explain the topic Apm 1.0. Let's get started. Well, I guess everyone owns a smartphone. Uh, yes, right? So have anyone ever noticed how many apps we have downloaded in our day-to-day life? 150, 150, 200? Any kind of numbers, fancy numbers in the comments? Fine, okay. So in the recent trends, usage of mobile apps application within ourselves has drastically increased over the last half a decade. On the other hand, the QA has got additional responsibility to keep the standards high by validating those and providing a necessary sign off on every releases. The ultimate goal of the QA is to make sure the application released to the customer should be a bug free. So anything that product that goes to the end user, it's supposed to be the bug free. So that is a key goal here. To succeed that, QA need a right automation framework tool for mobile app testing, right? So here comes our topic, is Apm 1.0. Let's go inside. Yeah. So why mobile automation testing? So despite of having a n number of features available, so why we need mobile automation? So nowadays, mobile application testing has become a vital cog in the software testing industry in the past few years. But in a shorter release cycle, complex features, and at the end of the day, so we need to ensure the best quality application in the market, right? So in order to satisfy all these criteria, so the manual validations or a manual testing alone cannot perform these tasks certain numbers of the release. And it needs some savior. So here comes this leads to the rise of mobile automation testing. Hence, a stable mobile automation testing framework that ensures the testing time is reduced considerably with a high quality of testing. The ultimate goal is like the quality should be high and the amount that testers invest on the testing application should be less. This is the key goal wherever you go. So currently, there are wide range of mobile automation testing tools and framework available. User can select anything based on their requirement, organization requirement, anything. But among these tools, Appium always rank one among all these. Appium has become one of the most favorable tool for mobile automation testing. Go to next slide. So why we prefer, so like something that has to be catchy, right? Why everyone running behind the Appium? So Appium is an open source test automation framework and is used for the mobile automation across different platforms like iOS, Android, sometimes Windows, older days. It also supports mobile web browser automation and also has the wide variety of language support for automation. Later, it has been backed by the Source Lab for first official launch in 2014. Later, from 2016 to till date, the ultimate goal of the Source Lab and that they have been donated to the JS Foundation. So they are making sure that Appium should be the open source till date as of now. So it is not a beta version; it is open source, free licensed, no cost to be invested on that part. So that is the thing. JS Foundation is taking care of that one. So yeah, why do we use Appium? Yeah, next slide. Yes. Why do we use Appium? Because it supports the native application, hybrid application, and the web browsers on the mobile. So cross covers all the Android, iOS web platform. Yes, you don't need any multiple framework to automate your app across the different platform. Say right, I have a one framework or for iOS, one framework for Android. It doesn't like that. So like it provides a variety of multiple framework to the automate your application across the different platform. That's the key thing, and it supports the programming language, multiple languages like Java, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, PHP, etc. At the same side, Appium provides a client library which are the trailer for these languages actually. It integrates seamlessly with continuous integration tools like Jenkins. Uh, and your text code can run on emulators, simulators, real devices, cloud-based mobile automation services like AWS device form, process stack, etc. These are the key points that Appium provides. That too in a free of cost open source. Under the hood, so we use Selenium WebDriver command. So if you have previously worked in a Selenium, then already you are in halfway to start the Appium. So that's why we used to call it. So it's just a expansion from the Selenium. The Appium has been kickstarted. So unlike the native mobile automation frameworks like XUI Test and Expresso, it runs on built on applications file. So in order to run the test, you don't need to recompile the application code. Say for example, your automation programming language is not dependent on your developer's programming language. If the development at the back end is being developed by the Kotlin or Ruby or Python, your automation programming language can be in a Java or a C hash, anything. So it makes very flexible for automation enthusiasts. Like for example, if your developer has written a code in a Kotlin, so you can be in a Java. So at the same time you can be in a Kotlin as well. So that's a privilege that Appium gives for the automation testers. Yeah, next slide. Well, let's get more into the technical part. So Appium, at the core, Appium is an HTTP server written in a Node.js that exposes REST API actually. And this client communicates with the Appium server via REST API, and it's been completely handled by the mobile JSON via protocol. The communication is happening, right? So the client initiate the session using the desired capabilities. So if you see in this image, you can see those desired capabilities in a key and value pair. The key will be the automation name, and value will be the execute test. Device name will be the key, and iPhone 11 is a value. So this drives the Android session using a UI Automator 2 driver. So if I want to have, so those details what you are seeing in the slide, it is specifically for an iOS. If you want to be in Android, then there is a certain key and value pair has to be given. That's how the APM by default it's been understood. You need not to specify whether it is an iOS. Based on this, it picks the desired drivers and it runs. And Android session uses the UI Automator driver, and iOS uses the XUI test driver. Using the WebDriver agents server to interact with the Apple's XE test native framework, and Apple settings companion app on the Android. Over to next slide. So once the session is been once the session has been established, the client and server always interact with the session ID as a reference. See, there isn't always like a post call will be triggered. So something, it's a JSON via protocol will interact as a mediator. The client sends a request, and the JSON via protocol act as a mediator and gives the request to the server, and Appium server responds back as a session ID. So if you notice in this picture, there is a post call is being passed, and there is an action is being called for accessibility ID with the value echo box. So we are searching for accessibility ID, and we are getting a status code as 200, and we getting a response from the bottom. If you see the fourth line, you're getting a status code, and from the bottom, if you see in the third line, you see the session ID. So each and every action, so in the mobile, even if it is in the real devices, or if it is in simulators or emulator, any action, any tap action, move action, click action, any action you perform, there will be a session ID will be sent from the Appium server to the client to the back. Yeah, next slide. So now, how the Appium works on the Android. So to be in a simple way, the client libraries convert the user return commands to the REST API request. These request sends to the so this, if you see here in the left hand side, there is a client library, right, that converts the user commands to the REST API request. Okay, and this request are sent to the Appium server using a mobile JSON via protocol, as I said in the say capabilities. And API server forwards these requests to the targeted Android device or emulator, which you see in the right hand side. So these commands are interrupted by the bootstrap.jar. See, so this which converts into the mobile understandable UI Automator format, because the device has to get understand like any request that is being sent in JSON via protocol or whatever. So this bootstrap.jar plays a major role here, which converts them into the mobile understandable for UI Automator format. So this UI Automator is a guy. The commands are now performed on the devices and emulator both. So this architecture is being maybe you can have this as a reference for both simulators and for emulators and the real device. Okay, so now these devices then revert back outcomes the performed command to the Appium server via. So now again, so you are going to pass an information through the JSON web protocol from the server to the device. Now the device has to send the response, right? That response is happening now. So the response is sent via the bootstrap.jar, and then the Appium server sends the request to the sends the forwarded this responses, which is a session ID I told you in the previous time. The session ID is sent to the client. This is how this Appium works on the Android devices. Move on to the next slide. So now how Appium works on the iOS. Similarly, the same process. The client library sends a request to the Appium server via the JSON web protocol, and here the only thing the difference is like here the WebDriver agent plays a major role. In the Android, we have bootstrap.jar, which converts in the respective commands to understandable format, right? Similarly, here WebDriver agent.app plays a major role, which converts them into the mobile understandable format by calling the Apple's XUI test API. And again, commands are performed, and the WebDriver agent will forward the responses to the client, and the Appium server forward the responses via session ID. That's how the technical architecture flows. This WebDriver.agent.app is specifically for Excavators framework, and Bootstrap.jar, which is an UI automation, is specifically for an Android. So we don't need to confuse these two keynotes. Yeah, moving on to the next slide. So you guys will be thinking like, why this guy is keep on iterating the word JSON wire protocol, JSON wire protocol. So it is something the communication. So as I said, it is a bridge between the client and the server. Okay, in form of exchanging the JSON. So JSON means like something. It is an we call the abbreviation is like a JavaScript object notation. The abbreviation of JSON. So JSON is a lightweight language independent data interchange format. Okay, so the basic JSON. So maybe I will give a reference. So if you see here, there is a video it's been playing in the slide. Okay, here there's the key and value pair. This been saved in the desired capabilities. So if you can save this desired capabilities for Android or iOS based on your project requirement. You can save it. Maybe the automation name, project name, device version, anything. So the in the key and value pair, key will be the device name will be the key, and the value will be the iPhone. So this how this key and value pair has been mapped. To be precise, JSON via protocol is a predefined set of specification that maps the action such as a click or type or scroll, etc. within the HTTP request. Maybe in the simple terms, they are the set of rules that defines the data should be sent in what order, in what format between the client and server. So it decides like what format should be sent. So that technically decides what to do, what not to do, what format. So that's it plays a major role over there. And Appium uses this mobile JSON via protocol, which extends this JSON via protocol. It enables the Appium server to manage the communication within the mobile devices. So that's how it plays. Then to the next slide. So if you see, these are the design capabilities code snippet, which is being taken from the automation framework, which I'm working right now in my organization. So if you see, there are too much like if you see the key and value pair, as you mentioned, that more we are creating an instance, desired capability equal to new desired. The instance has been created, and then we are making the set capabilities, and then we are making a platform name, platform version, automation name, based on if it is an if the platform version, if I want to work on iOS version 15, then I will be specifying those kind of, and if I want to go with the older version, I'll be specifying the older version of that part. Automation name UI Automator. This UI Automator is for an Android. Automation name Excavators is for an iOS. And we can specify that device name, whether the if an iPhone 12 or iPhone 13 or 14, anything, if it's up. So only if the current releases is being done from officially from the Apple. And emulators, whatever the emulators we have in the Android Studio, those emulators we need to mention, and you need to mention the most important thing is the UDID you need to mention, and the value of it. And the no reset, there is a reset capability where making as a no reset. This is like whether you need to kill an app, you need to launch an app. Those kind of information is maintained by the Boolean value true false. At the bottom of the page, if you see Android Appium driver, so like we have three things. As I said in the first slide, Appium supports three platforms: Android driver, iOS driver, Windows driver, and those are the specific URLs will be mentioned over here. Sorry. Over to next slide. So here, so now we are getting into this, like you guys will be wondering, so where this Appium server is being, so these guys keep shouting Appium server, Appium server. So you guys will think, what is this Appium server, where it is being hosted? You guys have, so far who is been listening, constantly listening, they have this kind of a question, right? I am answering to that question now. So this Appium, so this, one second, I have a sore throat. Yeah, so based on this, like you can install this Appium GUI in your desktop directly. So if you go to the Google and you can download the latest version with respect to 1.0 I'm talking about, we have a latest version, it is 1.22.3. It is still continuing to work as a stable version right now. So here, if you play this video, so if you see like a simple, advanced, and presets. So these are the three GUI remold with the three different parts. So this simple part, you can change the default host and port. Like if you have the necessary host and port, you can have it and you can start your server. Advanced, you can control the general settings and a log level node path. So if you can customize based on your project specific, based on your requirements, you can go for advanced one. Presets, yeah, you can change whatever you want. If you want to execute in a future thing, you can go for the presets. Yeah, next slide. Yes. Now, how this guy starting a new session, right? That will be a next question. Yeah, I'm going to answer. So if you tap on the start server, there will be a console box. If you what you're seeing in the slide in the left top corner, like welcome to Appium, what are the version you have in your desktop, and default server arguments and those kind of details will be mentioned here. And if we want to start your session one more time, or if there is any error or if there is any failure, again you can tap on a start new session on the right top corner. And again there will be, if you in the second image, whatever the dialog box you're seeing, the dialog box will be popped up. If you have saved existing desired capability, and you can use it. And here we have four kind of servers: automatic server, custom server, source lab, and test object. The first automatic server is for the local host, and this custom server is being dedicated for the remote host. This will be different dedicated desired capabilities. And the third one, source lab and test object, is for an cloud-based environment. If you have if your organization have the access to the source lab, if they are paying, that source lab is a paid version where you get a number of devices version over the online. If you have that account, then you can have it, though you can enter those details here. Yeah, next slide. Right. So now being discussed all the things. So now the question will arise: how to inspect an element in the Appium desktop, right? Yeah, I'm going to answer. So if the video is playing, so like when you start the session, there will be an app will be installed. So this UI, what I'm showing is an iOS kind of a platform. And here, if you see, the app has been installed in the phone, and the app has been successfully launched. When you start your session, the respective app will be installed and will be pushed to the respective simulators or real device. And I forgot to say, if you are using an iPhone, there will be an IPA file, and it will be bundled together and push it in from the CI/CD pipeline. And if you are using an Android, you will have an APK file. So here, if here the user is whatever the UI screen you see in the mobile, the same will be seen in this inspector tool as well. Here the user is trying to inspect the username and password, right? As if you guys worked in Selenium, when you tap on the function F12, there will be a DOM structure will be open, right? Similarly, it is happening here. So the DOM is being opened so whatever the section you see in the middle of the page, that is the DOM. And here, if you can see the accessibility ID or a class name or XPath, respective attributes for the whatever the section you guys been selecting for the username and password, the respective elements, you can capture it. Yeah, over to next slide. Yeah, over to next slide. Now comes the interesting part. So like how many locators that Appium has. Like similarly, Selenium, Appium also has the locator strategy. So it has each and it has certain hierarchy level. So based on its priority level, each appropriate locator strategy is being designed for the respective platforms. If you see accessibility ID, class name, XPath, the first three and the last one is being supported for both Android and an iOS. But when you see UI Automator Selector is dedicated only for an Android, and predicate string is only dedicatedly supported only for the iOS platform. Class chain, again, it is one of the type. Let me go more into this detail. This accessibility ID means is commonly used for iOS-based application as well as in Android. This locator is recognized as an attribute, which we call as a content disk. We call it as. This is one of the best strategy used for the both Android and iOS, because it is the same for both platform, right? If it is designed for native, it will designed using a React Native or say any other thing from the developer. For Android, we call it as a accessibility ID or a content disk is always preferred choice due to its performance, because compared to other thing, the accessibility ID has high performance when compared to other ones. XUI, this accessibility test will be more carefully, because this dynamic field ID, that whenever the ID change, the value of the particular field also change. And go to next slide. So here we are, the first thing, in the middle of the page, in the left corner, in the middle of the thing, there is a code snippet is being shared for accessibility ID. So if you can make that whatever the selector, string selector, whatever the selector you have, you can make it as driver.find element. You can mobile by.id, you can mention the selectors. And if you are using it for iOS, at iOS XUI test find by, and if you are using for Android, at Android find by accessibility something. Yeah, moving on to UI Automator Selector. So this UI Automator Selector API is an Android native way to find the element. It uses the UI Selector class to locate an element. In Appium, you send a Java code as a string to the server, which always execute in an application environment, returning the element or elements or element. Okay. So Appium always, so if you see the code snippet for UI Automator, you can see in the first image, you can see UI selector dot resource ID, and you're going to give the resource ID whatever from the below list. We can use this UI Automator strategy, right? So with the UI scrollable function, there is a certain inbuilt function. So I am just saying, this UI Automator strategy with the UI scrollable function for some complex operations like auto scrolling. Because if you see Hotstar kind of an application or Netflix kind of an application, so when you, maybe I will give a best example, Instagram. So when there is a certain content, you keep scrolling and the content is keep loading. So for this specific function, how you do the automation for automatic scrolling, here comes this UI automator, UI scrollable function comes to the picture. So you need to scroll when the data is being constantly loading, when auto scrolling function, then this kind of an action that Appium helps to do perform an automation on that part. The final thing, predicate string. This locator strategy is in my favorite list, because this predicate string always dedicated only like if you're working on iOS automation, this predicate string always been a sure shot first preference to go with XY automation, we call it as. This is a React Native, is a native JS search to approach powered by the Apple for its own SDK code. You can design it more like an XPath query, what we do in a Selenium. And the syntax for this predicate string has been shown in the left hand side bottom of the third image. You can see at XUI test find by, maybe you can do drive.find element mobile by iOS ns predicate string, and you can make it as like this. This is a small snippet. Yeah, go to next slide. So here, this question, all should you guys who are watching right from the beginning, they would have been thinking how this Appium works on the real device, right? As I said in the architecture, there is a guy called WebDriver Agent.app, right? You need to install that WebDriver Agent.app in your respective thing, and that's the reason there is a certain snippet is being shared over here. Like there are two ways, like a basic automation configuration or a basic manual configuration. So you need to configure it. So for that you have two desired capabilities. If you're going for a basic automation configuration, xcode org id and xcode sign in id. So this kind of an argument, so the kind of a desired capability key value pair you need to pass, and you need to create xc config file somewhere in your file system, where you have the Appium server and Xcode is being installed in your application, in your mission. And if you prefer to install the WebDriver agent through this basic manual configuration, then you have to create a provisioning profile by opening an Xcode. To be simple, and here I've given the certain code snippet. Appium path where installed bin Appium. So mkdir and -p resource. These are the certain command you need to pass it over the terminal. To be precise in word, so if you have an IPA file and that has to be installed in your real device, there should be a prerequisite, right? First, there should be a WebDriver agent that should be installed first. If they really constantly be checking on that part, if the WebDriver agent is present or not, then only the second part, only the respective IPA file will be launched in your particular real device. So it's a key point, and it's maybe I would like to call it as a prerequisite. Yeah, next slide. So finally, it's time to discuss so this many number of amount of time we've been discussing about the APM, right? So we need to know what is the pros and cons of an APM. So pros and cons of an APM. So here the pros always goes with this upfront cost, free of cost, and mobile testing. It supports the native apps, hybrid app, mobile application, operating system also. You can text across the OS, iOS, Android, Windows. Programming language, it supports most more programming language: Ruby, C, Java, Kotlin. So these are we have been always seen the pros. Right now we focus on the cons of the API testing, right? APM testing. So here comes the quite tricky part, is you have to code the APM test. The tester has to learn. So in the APM, so in the previous guest lecture, which Manikandan was telling about the Karate framework, yeah, anyone can work on the Karate framework API. That QA or tester doesn't need to have a programming language or a framework level of understanding something. But here, when a QA tester who has been working on mobile automation, specifically if they are go with the APM as a mobile automation framework tool, then the tester has to learn the programming language. So you're able to automate the test. So technically it can take few months or maybe several, maybe couple of maybe 2 cycle or 3 sprint cycle. So that's one of the, maybe I would like to say, the cons of the APM. So if you the time it takes to build the automation framework for APM is quite time consuming, right? And heavy maintenance. Why I'm saying about heavy maintenance is the script that you write in the APM has to be maintained regularly, because if you see the mobile, each and every day there is a patch release is coming. If you're in 8.5, the 8.5.1, 5.2, and then 8.5.1, something, if the patch release will come frequently, as well as the major release will come from 8.5 to 8.6. So all these major releases, you need to have a heavy maintenance. Say you have a bunch of 600 to 500 test cases in your automation tool, and if Apple is pushing a major release from 15.5 to 16, then you got to review all your test cases from all the 600 test cases. You need to change. If there is any small UI changes or any ID is being changed, the entire script will get affected. So heavy maintenance is required, and the maintenance alone can end up costing your business more than it should, because it always time and resources spent on building an automation is equal to the time and resource I saved for an automation. See, if I'm building an automation for 1 month just to test 2 days of an effort, so just maybe those kind of a factor I would like to call heavy maintenance here. And third one is naming convention and custom. So if you're automating an iOS application or Android application, so you need to keep bugging the developers, hey, can you please change the attribute elements with a specific name or ID. Say if you're working on a payments related kind of a platform, then you need to have a challenging code selector to find the element. So if your development team hasn't been regressed when adding an IDs or specific names to the element, it can be a very hard for selectors to work. And the final one is one-on-one support. So we have several community, but there is no one-on-one support for APM. Maybe that would be one of the drawback. But we have a n number of community widespread. So we can, if there is any problems or challenges we face, we can post in a forum and we can get a solution. But also one-on-one support we don't have. That is one of the cons here. And I think so I'm pretty much covered about the 1.0 Appium 1.0 version. Now I'm handing over my session to the next set of Appium 2.0. But before going to that, I would like to take, if the active attenders, if they have any questions, yeah, you can throw it and I'm ready to answer.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, hi Lakshman, I think we are going to
Okay.
run out of time. I think quickly I will move on to my topics and we'll proceed.
Okay. Over to Prabhu.
After that,
Thank
we
you.
can have, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Lakshman. That was a deep drive session on that one. So probably I will start from India, I think.
Prabhu,
Mani,
are
can
you
you
able to
share?
see the screen? I have shared already.
No, can you stop and reshare again?
Yeah, I will do it.
Yeah,
Hope.
I'm able to. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Mani.
Go to you.
Yeah. Hi guys. So yeah, as Lakshman just now told that, right? So before moving to 2.1, I'm also thought of explaining a little about other tools which are doing the similar activities like APM. So I'm thought of giving in 14 descriptive steps, but due to the time constraint, I'm going to concentrate on the major of the important points I only. So first we are going on the programming knowledge. So before that, I will tell you that what are the comparison we are going to do. So yes, with the Appium framework, we are going to compare with the Perfecto tool and C-test tool. And we can tell that C-test as a XP test also. First, we are going to talk about the programming knowledge for the programmer expert level knowledge. So for preparing the Appium script, definitely we need an expert level programmer to prepare the script. So whereas when compared to Perfecto, right, it will be easy to preparing the script. But C-test also we need an expert level program in this programming knowledge wise. And another main point we are going to discuss about is like cost. Yeah, as we know, Appium is a open source, and but we are having the license version also. And then a license version is known as the Appium Studio. We can use that too. And Perfecto and C-test have both are having a trial and licensed version. Yeah, trial version will be have a 7 days of free trial, and license version we need to purchase afterwards. And main thing is like the supporting programming languages, right? So you can see that on the fourth point. Yes, in Appium supports programming language or client libraries like Ruby, Java, Python, PHP, C Sharp, and JS and Jenkins also. So in Perfecto, you can see that like Java, JavaScript, and C Sharp, Python, and Jenkins will be supported there. Whereas in C test, you can see the client library supported like Java, C Sharp, and Python. Perl also will be supported in the C test tool. So, and another one important topic we need to see is like image recognition or image comparison. So, as we know that right in Appium, it is a partially supported. We need to prepare the script for the same. So to do that image comparison, right? So there is a no any inbuilt option in that Appium. But whereas in Perfect and C-test, both are having the built-in feature on the image comparison. And after that, we are going to see about that API testing part. Yes, Appium doesn't support APM testing, so there is no option to do that API testing using the Appium. But where in Perfecto, we are integrating with RESTful API, we can perform the API testing. And C-test, yes, it won't. That also similar to Appium, it won't support the API testing. So and integrating with cloud premises, it is also an important thing. So to do our process comparison, so yeah, Appium need an external premises to integrate with cloud. So similar, like for example, it's like a sauce lab, pcloudy, and browser stack and Cobiton. These are some of the cloud premises which we need to integrate and to access the same. So, but whereas in Perfect and Cetus, as we know, they have their own cloud platforms, so they can easily access that one. Yeah, I think money. We can move to next slide. Yeah. So right now, what we are going to say is like, so how we are going to integrating with the Appium is getting integrated with cloud premises, and what are the pros and cons. So in the pros wise, the main advantage of the Appium integrating to cloud premises, right? It doesn't require any additional softwares like Android Studio or Xcode. Simply just we need the Appium need to be installed in your machine. So it will helps to connect with our cloud premises, and we can access the devices, and we can run our test and everything. Uh, so it will major point is like it will help us to stop the process of configuring dependency in our local machine, right? So every time we are setting our Appium, as earlier Lakshman had told that, right? So whenever every new release had came or a version bump had happened, so we need to do the setup again, and we need to keep that machine and up and running and to our system and in our local machine too. So it is hard to maintain the task, right? So by using the client cloud premises integration, it will be easy for us. So, and another important thing is like we can reuse our existing code. So simply we need to add the parameters and pointing to the correct device connector in the server. By that way, we doesn't need to create a new script for this particular cloud premises or anything. So you can use your existing code, and we can directly pointing to our using the accurate parameters and pointing, we can do that same. And yeah, coming to stability and parallelization, yes, we can split up the work along the across the process in parallel. To, for example, for save a time also, we need to run a script in so for example, we are having around 8 different scripts. So we can execute the 8 different script in 8 different devices instead of executing in a single virtual device to do one by one. You can do that in 8 parallel devices. So by that time, it will time process will be very less compared to others. Yeah. Okay, man. Can we move to the next one? So yeah, we are going to see about the cons of the Appium cloud. Yes, definitely there is some cons are there. So provided logged in. And so for example, if we are having a, I can give a little example on the like this. So when we are migrating our test suite from one mobile testing platform to another testing platform, right, across vendor, it will be little difficult. So we need to configure every parameters and pointings to that particular new environment, and then only we can run on the same. So it's a it's a hard to do that one. And second one is like security. As we know, it's a third party vendor. To execute our script, generally we need to share our test data, right? Maybe some critical data will be there. So there is a high possibility and security breach on doing the cloud premises. So these below are the supporting cloud premises with Appium. So first one is on SaaS Lab. As we know, right, it is developed by Appium devs. So we are using that. And apart from that, a Lambda test, browser stack, Cobiton, Headspin, C test, Perfecto, and some other things. And the main important cloud premises is like app list tools, which is helps to perform the visual testing also from our end. Yeah. Yeah, Mani, you can move on. Yes, this is the right topic we are going to check. Yeah, and there is a, these are the main core features which have been introduced in 2.0, which is the difference between 1.0 and this 2.0. Yes, it is a, we can say like driver independence in 2.0. So we can have a decoupled web driver based on our application. So earlier in 1.2, when we install the Appium, it will install like in the bundle format. It will take pull all the drivers. So whatever it will pull all the drivers, and it can't ignore them. So but here what we can do is like we can download the specific driver version which that user need to perform their test on the performance particular platform. For example, the user need to perform only Android execution. They can only install the driver of UI Automator 2. They doesn't need to have the XUI test, right? So they can skip that. But the earlier version, it can't be achievable. So, and second one is like plugin ecosystem. Yeah, we are they have introduced the plugin ecosystem. We are having 3 different plugins. So it's like image plugin and extend execute driver, and final one is on the this one. In our example, we are seeing, right, install relaxed cap. So these are the plugin ecosystem, each one having different features. But I will explain a little about this install the relaxed cap. Yes, install the relaxed cap. What it will do is like it will, yeah, in the upcoming slide we are going to see about that prefix on that Appium on the capabilities part. So when the user install this particular plugin, so they don't need to add that parameter in that capabilities every time. So by installing this plugin, it will take care of that one. And final main thing is like W3c compatibility. Yes, like Selenium 4, Yes, LM4 is fully W3c compatibility, right? Appium 2.0 also we are entering into W3c standard capabilities. So it from 2.0 it won't allow the non W3c standard capabilities into their code. So it is a must to needed one. We are incorporating that in 2.0 features. Yeah, Mani. Yeah. So yeah, this is the architectural diagram between 1.0 with 2.0. So yeah, I think Lakshman have explained better on that 1.0 scenario on the architectural way. We are going to see about the 2.0. So yes, from Appium client, instead of JSON wire protocol, we are going to connect with the W3c protocol, and that W3c protocol will integrate with Appium via 2.0 with the Appium server, driver, plugin, desktop, and inspector, whichever we required for our need or based on our platform level execution. It will connect to that UI Automator too, so we can execute that way. So this is the simple architectural change. There we can go with JSON wire protocol, and there will be Appium server and Appium desktop. Here they have introduced the driver separately, plugins, and Appium inspector too. Yeah, Mani. So this is the desired capability for 2.0 we are going to set. I think you can see the image, right? Both the images. First one is on the iOS part. In the platform name, we are as same as 1.2. We are going to provide mention the particular platform iOS or Android, and that in that version you can see the right version, automation name, app, device name, UDID. There all we need to prefix the Appium colon before the key values, then only it will work. This is the 2.0 due to W3c capabilities, right? We are incorporating the same. So this will be same for Android too. So you can see that in the bottom, right? So similar to that, yeah, Appium platform version, Appium automation name. Here we are pointing that UI Automator to Appium app, and Appium device name, and Appium UDID, universal device ID. Yeah. Yeah, these are some of the useful commands which will be helpful on accessing that Appium 1.1 and 2.2. So as we know that first command is on the installing that Appium. So it is a known module based Appium, right? Yeah, so we are having that command like npm install -g Appium. So this will install the 1.2. For 2.2, Appium install -g Appium at the rate next. So this command will install the Appium 2.2 version. So to check the dependency, you can use that Appium -doctor and a -- Android and a -- iOS based on our machine setup. And to start the Appium from our client as a command prompt or terminal, right? So Appium is the command. So by hitting it, it will start the Appium server. And to install the driver, right? This is the command we have for 2.2. So to install the Appium driver, so the command is like Appium driver install -- install. It will list out the what are the driver we have installed in our machine. It will get list down to update the driver. So in the command is like Appium driver update XUI test. So this command is for to updating the XUI test for the latest version. So to uninstall, instead of update, we need to change into uninstall. Yeah. So it's a final one. Yes, current Appium desktop version is 1.22.3, so which was released on 15th of 2022, and 2.0 version is like Appium Next. So as I told that, right, next is the keyword for that one 2.0. So we are having the version of 2.00 beta 40, and it was released on June 2022. So yeah, client Java client also 8.1.1, so which is also got released on June 2022. Yeah, these are the reference for the Appium 2.0, Appium 1.0, and Karate framework, which we have gone through, and it will be helpful for us in further. Yeah, I think we are on exact on the time. Open forum for the any Q&As.
Sure, I'll probably show the questions on the screen, and then maybe you guys can answer it. So the first question that we have gotten is Appium has two disadvantages. It has limited support for hybrid app testing. You'll not be able to test the action that allows switching of applications from native to web and from web to native. And also, there's no support that will allow you to run the Appium Inspector on Microsoft Windows. And yeah, so they want to ask that whether we can,
Achieve a
uh,
multi.
sorry, yeah, if we can overcome the above two disadvantages, or is there any framework that you could tell us that does not have these disadvantages or something?
I think Mani, you are talking on mute.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will take the first question. Apm is supporting the partial hybrid support. Initially,
sure.
the Apm will support the hybrid application. We have to switch the driver context. There is a context keyword. We have to switch between the web and the native. That's how we are able to automate the hybrid applications using Appium. And also, if they want to automate for the certain drivers, right? We have a something called the Chrome driver. For the Mac OS, we have the Safari driver. If are using Appium, right, we are able to inspect the elements and automatically, if you're switching from the driver dot context for the web view, right, we are able to automate the hybrid applications also. And if you come back to the native wherever, right, then you have to switch back to the driver. Hope
Okay.
I have answered the first question. What will be the next question?
Yeah, another question is regarding the Karate framework itself. Is it possible to reuse the code in Karate, and is there any way to mock the API data?
Yeah, we are able to reuse the code. That means I'm creating a one post dot feature. If I want to call to the next feature, right, I will using the call keyword, I'm able to reuse it. That's what we are able to achieve the reusability in Karate framework. And also when it comes to the API mock, right, we are able to use that one. First of all, we have to give the feature, the parameters, what we want to mock it. Later on, we are able to the mock the API data in Karate also. That is also the feature. It's available in Karate. The third one,
And
I,
the third question is, can we initiate the automate test on multiple mobile devices at the same time?
yeah,
yeah,
using the strategy framework or Prabhu, you want to take this question
no,
or
no, no. You can answer it. I will give an update after that.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, if I have the same devices, suppose if I'm having the Android devices, S10, two devices, if I want to execute my tests at the two devices at the same time, right? Using the thread locally, the function or in the core Java, we have a thread, right? We are able to use that one. We are able to initiate the two sessions in the APM itself just to open the command prompt two sessions. APM and different port number, we are able to execute the testers in the two different devices.
Prabhu, you want to say something on this?
Yeah, I think using our just now we have discussed about, right. So integration with cloud premises also we can easily achieve that one. So we can I think at a single time we can execute 8 different devices for the same script or anything. We can do that. Yeah.
We don't have any other question, guys, and thank you so much for taking out your time for conducting this very informative session. And it was really enjoyable. Actually, I haven't done this testing before, but it was quite enjoyable. I learned a lot. So thank you so much for each one of you for your time. And yeah, we'll probably meet next one with the viewers with the next movie talk session.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks all.
Thank you, team. Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.